Well, hello, everybody. Peter Greenberg here. Welcome to this special edition of Facebook Live for our global travel update. I'll explain where I am in a second. But first, let's talk about all the craziness that's starting today. That's right, today, the beginning of the Thanksgiving holiday madness. 53 million Americans estimated to be traveling starting today. Many of you by car. That's number one. Number two, we've got airlines that are understaffed, airports that are understaffed, the TSA that's understaffed. We've got hotels and restaurants that are understaffed. Fuel prices spiking at the pump. You've already felt that pain if you're in your car. Jet fuel prices that'll be double what they were last year in just about a month. Shall I go on? Oh, yeah. Ticket prices going up 3 to 5% per day. Airplanes completely full. And that's all the bad news. All right, now, having said all that, I had other things to talk about, which we'll get to. Now let me tell you the good news. I'm not there. That's right. You know where I am? I'm overlooking the Atlantic Ocean here on the island of Gran Canaria in the Canary Islands. We've been doing one of my 1-hour PBS specials called Hidden on all the 8 Canary Islands. I can name all of them. We're being to all of them, as a matter of fact. And airing a little later, New Year, on PBS, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV Plus, alongside our other series called Hidden Turkey, Hidden Poland, and upcoming next year, Hidden Ireland, and a few more. But most importantly now, let's talk about the news, and then I'll talk about where I am. And of course, you can always send me your emails and your comments right online today, or if I missed you today, peter@petergreenberg.com, or listen to our radio show tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Check your local listings. And if you can't find it anywhere, not a problem. You can find it. Go right to our website, petergreenberg.com, log on to the radio icon, and we stream it live starting at 10:05 Eastern every Saturday morning. All right, now let's talk about what's going on. As I've just told you, it's crazy out there. People started their vacation today. I wouldn't actually call Thanksgiving a vacation. We've been there before. I consider it an obligatory dysfunctional family get together. But if you got to go, well, I can't stop you. Well, what I did was the smart thing. I didn't stick around. I flew over here, and that's what I did. Now, bottom line is, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's start. First of all, airlines are full. In fact, last week we were about 6% under the number of people who had flown in 2019. Well, that number has now been exceeded by the foreign travelers who are now visiting the United States who are fully vaccinated. Those planes are full. Where I am, not full. You know, it's interesting about Europe, and I'll get specific about the Canary Islands in a second. Right now, airfares here are at historic lows. Airfare from New York to Ireland, $359. That's round trip. Airfare from New York to Paris, $395. Right, and those airfares are probably going to stay that way through March. You can't get from New York to Cleveland for $395. So do the math. But listen, I've been telling you this for weeks. I'm here now. And why am I here in the Canary Islands? Because most Americans don't even know them. They have no clue. There are 8 of them. And phenomenal volcanic islands with so much to offer. Most of the visitors here traditionally have been British tourists and German tourists. Americans haven't found it. Well, you need to find it. It's great. Well, the other day I posted a picture of me at about the 6,000-foot level. It's a little cold, stargazing on Mount Tebe, the highest mountain in Spain. Actually, it goes up to 9,000 feet. We were at the 6,000-foot level. Today I'm on Gran Canaria. Yesterday, the reason why we didn't do Facebook Live yesterday was because yesterday I was at La Palma, site of the still erupting volcano. So let me give you a shot of what it looked like yesterday about this time, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon in La Palma. There it is. You can see it's still erupting. You can see the steam coming up, the big cloud of ash. That place is covered with ash. It's very fine dust, but it's covering every car, every sidewalk, every roof, every piece of clothing. It's crazy. But now, let's switch gears and show you that same shot last night at about 8:30 in the evening. Now you understand it's still erupting and it's still getting crazy. There are still 4 big eruptions going on. It started, by the way, 2 months ago today, September 19th, with 8 different eruptions. Now they're down to 4, but the lava stream is still going. More than 1,000 homes destroyed, 8,000 people evacuated. It's still obviously a fluid situation. A lot of that lava during the daytime, you'll see it's going into the sea. It's going to be continuing for quite some time. When I say that the Canary Islands are volcanic, there you have it. Now, the last time I was here, I'm dating myself, was in the mid-70s. Not in Gran Canaria, but in Tenerife. Why Tenerife? Because that was the site, and I'm sad to report, because it's still the case, of the worst aviation disaster in the history of aviation. On that day, in that month, that's when a Pan Am 747 was hit by a KLM 747 on the runway at Tenerife North. And just a horrific situation. That's what brought all the world media to the Canary Islands. Obviously, a much better reason to come today. Right there is the Atlantic Ocean behind me, and it's not crowded. It's great. So more about that when you'll see our PBS special, Hidden Canary Islands, early next year. Now, let's go to some of your questions. I'm going to start scrolling down. Alex is in Doha. We've got Daniela saying hi. Alex is saying impressive. What do we have here? And a couple of other questions coming in that you sent me, which I'm going to deal with right now. Okay. Norm says he's going to Canada. I know that you need to be fully vaccinated. They also need to take a COVID test within 72 hours. Is the need for a test true? Yes, it is. That's what you have to do. Judy says, when would be the best time to book air to Stockholm from the U.S. in July? Most of you have been asking about booking airfare in April, May, and June. That's okay, because it's not high season. July is high season. But keep in mind right now that Sweden, for reasons that still escape most normal people, has banned all of us anyway, even if you're vaccinated. Very tight restrictions in Sweden to go, even though the rest of the European Union is saying, please come. And also interesting situation in the Netherlands, which continues to go into lockdown. Vienna and in Austria also doing some lockdowns for its locals, but that's not stopping fully vaccinated Americans from going. We'll have a whole list on our website, of course, petergreenberg.com. All right, now we can start scrolling down again. Here's when Patricia says, thanks, Peter, for all the do. We appreciate that. And before I get to the more questions that you've got, and they're all coming in now, I want to share with you something else. We talked about this last week and the week before, and that's the growing number. And by the way, it's not going away. It's actually increasing of unruly, disruptive, violent passengers on airplanes. The FAA now reporting over 5,200 cases. But here's the crazy thing. You've also heard stories about the FAA imposing fines or people being prosecuted. Really? Now let's dig down deep into the numbers. Of the 5,200 cases that the FAA themselves have reported, they've only referred 37 of them to the U.S. Department of Justice for prosecution. And how many have been prosecuted? 0. Wait, it gets worse. You've also heard about the fines. In some cases, up to $47,000 per incident, but they're called by the FAA, quote unquote, proposed fines. All right, it happened again this week. The FAA announced they were proposing fines of over $220,000 against another 10 passengers for unruly, disruptive, or violent behavior. Let's get back to that word proposed. How many of those fines have ever been imposed? Not proposed, imposed. How many of them have been paid? Here we go again, 0. So what is the deterrent factor of announcing all these fines or announcing all these prosecutions if nobody gets prosecuted and nobody really pays the fines that are originally proposed? That's a rhetorical question. You go figure it out. However, the airlines are lobbying hard with the U.S. Department of Transportation and with the U.S. Department of Justice to get antitrust immunity to be able to meet together as an industry to come up with what? An industry-wide no-fly list. That's what's going to do it. Because right now, if I want to act out on a plane and I get banned from that airline, there's nothing preventing me to go over to a competing airline and checking in and doing it all over again. So even the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is supporting the idea of an industry-wide no-fly list. And let's hope we get that, because that's not going away. However, I always like to anticipate the worst. What does United Airlines just announced this week? They're reintroducing beverages, alcoholic beverages on flights. What could possibly go wrong? Remember, in so many of these cases, alcohol was involved. People getting tanked at the airport before they get on the plane, or getting more tanked once they get on the plane. They're reintroducing alcohol. Already Southwest Airlines said they might consider reintroducing it in 2022. But United, they're not getting stopped here. They're saying we're introducing again pre-departure beverages on flights. And you know what? That's a little scary, to me at least. Actually, I think they should go beyond that. We've talked about this before. We should impose like the NFL fourth quarter rule, like they do on football games. And that is no alcohol sales during the fourth quarter. Now, how do you do that at the airport? It's actually quite simple. You can't get to the gates without a boarding pass. And your boarding pass has on there a departure and a boarding time. They should have a rule that no alcohol can be served to anybody. You have to show your boarding pass to get served at an airport retail establishment within 45 minutes of your boarding time. Not departure time, boarding time. Hopefully, it will make a difference. I hope it does. I haven't done it yet because, money tends to talk, but there you go. Here's one from Patricia who says, looks like Paris in March could be fun. Where should we stay? Well, first of all, Paris in March is the best time to go. You'll be the only one there, right? You're not going there for a suntan. You're going there to see Paris. So it all depends on your budget before I answer that question where you should stay. But in terms of time of the year, that's a home run. My friend Jonathan Atkins, St. Vincent is still cleaning up ash from their volcano months ago. You're right. Listen, Kilauea in Hawaii. I remember going to the Philippines after Pinatubo, where it buried Clark Air Force Base. By the way, it's still buried over there. People don't understand. They have no idea. Really, they don't have no grasp until you actually see it for yourself of how much ash is created. Yesterday alone, I had to take 3 showers when I got back to the hotel because I was covered in it. I mean, and anybody else would be too. Now, it's not dangerous unless you inhale a lot of it. So be careful about that. But it's now become a huge tourist attraction, the island of La Palma. When I was on the ferry yesterday to go there, I mean, the ferry was loaded with like 600 people. 550 of them were day trippers who were just coming over to take a volcano tour. And you really can't get that close. The picture that you saw of me was from a vantage point that we were able to take with a volcanologist who was doing all the key research there. And that's about as close as you'd want to get. But it's still worth seeing, and it's still worth experiencing. All right, some other news I want to talk to you about. And this one is actually quite interesting. And it's completely counterintuitive. Okay, let me set a scene for you. You want to hail a taxi in Vienna in Austria for about a 15-minute ride? It'll cost you about 30 euros, relatively expensive. However, if you call Uber, the rate goes down to 17 euros. And guess who shows up to take you on your ride? The same exact cab. It's completely counterintuitive and nuts. It allows you to be a better comparison shopper. Wait, it gets even crazier. Go on Marriott.com to book a number of hotel rooms, and you'll get X number of dollars for a rate. Go to Airbnb to book a lot of hotel rooms, which you didn't know you could book on Airbnb, and you get the same Marriott hotel room at less money. This is crazy. It completely confuses you in terms of branding. It completely confuses you in terms of what something's actually worth. But in this crazy world right now, you have different platforms to go to and different avenues to get to where you want to go. But the Vienna cab example and the Marriott Airbnb example are pretty good examples of how you can become a comparison shopper in areas you never thought you could go, right? Who thought that Marriott was going to be selling some of their hotel rooms on Airbnb? Whoever thought Uber was going to get you a cab? Well, they do in Vienna at almost half the price. All right, some more of your questions here. From Caroline, what is your favorite luggage to take on long or short hauls? I have a very easy answer for that. First of all, it's got to have 4 wheels, and they have to be independently turning and spinning. Because keep in mind, the people who design airports have never flown, and they put certain kind of carpet there that is not kind to 2-wheeled bags. It's not. But more importantly, you asked about my brand. I'm particular to a couple of them, but one in particular is Briggs & Riley. The reason why I like Briggs & Riley, first of all, they're really sturdy. They put all the hardware on the outside of the bag so that you don't lose interior space when you pack. But most importantly, and I haven't found this of any other bag company or luggage manufacturer, they have a lifetime warranty that's not limited. If you buy any other kind of bag, their warranty basically says, "Oh, we have a lifetime warranty," and then you see the asterisk, and you know what that means. We're not liable for normal wear and tear. What the hell does that mean? Normal wear and tear. You go on an airplane, it's going to get normal wear and tear to bits. I know this, right? But Briggs & Riley basically says, if you got a problem, send it in, we'll fix it. And you know what? I trash my bags because I'm half the time I'm FedExing them, right? But the bottom line is they actually do get torn. They actually do lose a zipper or two. Handles do get broken. I send it back to Briggs & Riley. They fix it. It's great. Now, are they more expensive than other bags? They are, but I'm a loyal customer because of that warranty alone. It's a good idea. All right, I got more to read here. Hold on. Here's one from BJ who says, "Hello from Santa Fe. What travel insurance do you recommend for traveling to Europe?" Well, let's get down to a definition of travel insurance. There's trip cancellation and interruption insurance. There's medical evacuation and repatriation insurance. And there's the insurance that you buy when you go online that you shouldn't buy when you go online because you have no idea what you're buying. So let's start with trip cancellation and interruption insurance. You do not buy it online. By the way, if you do your reservations online, you already know what I'm about to tell you. You can't complete the transaction unless you either opt in or opt out of the insurance, and you have no idea what you're covered for, or worse, what you're not covered for. So go through a travel advisor or a travel agent who can walk you through that answer so you know if it's worth for you, right? But then there's medical evacuation and repatriation coverage. And on that, I'm a huge fan of MedJet Assist and Travel Guard. They do a great job, and I have to give my hats off to them because of the way the language is written. And what that covers is if you get sick or injured anywhere overseas, they will actually work with your own physician, who knows your medical history better than your own doctor, to first help get you stabilized there. And then, if necessary, they will then fly you back on a medically equipped jet to the actual facility and doctor of your choice. Not every insurance policy does that. And as a result, you may end up at a bad HMO in a country you don't want to be in. But both MedJet Assist and Travel Guard do a great job of doing that. And it's an annual policy. It's about $500. There are some age exclusions and obviously some pre-existing medical exclusions, so read it carefully. But I've actually had the MedJet Assist for over 20 years. If there was wood here, I'd knock on it. I've never had to use it, but I'm very glad I have it. I've had friends who did have to use it, and it worked. It really did work. Okay. I'm planning, this is from Marie. I'm planning a trip from the East Coast to Madrid, March 17th to the 25th of 2022. When should I buy tickets? Not now. Do it on the 10th to the 20th of January, about 40 days to 50 days in advance. Keep in mind, until you get to like June 15th, you're going to be okay on airfares because they're not going to stabilize until the summer. So right now, remember, prices to Europe are at historic lows from the U.S. Okay. Linda, you've been predicting a crazy travel week this week, even with the possibility of a pilot strike on the 24th. Any update on that? Yes. I'm not aware of any pilot strike right now, but I will tell you this. American Airlines, as an example, offered like a 300% bonus to any of their pilots who would fly over the holidays, not just Thanksgiving, but Christmas. And the American Airlines Pilots Union rejected the offer. So I think they're still short-staffed on that. Now we're back on for those of you who haven't heard us already, but we are back on again. So thank you for joining us and being patient. We've had some signal problems right now. A lot of it actually caused, strangely enough, by the volcano in La Palma. It has some strange effect on signal. So I hope you're seeing it now. In fact, I'm going to. Okay, let's keep going. Here's one from Anne. I heard Christmas markets were canceled in Munich. Is this the only location that you know of? No, there are Christmas markets everywhere, and I'm not so sure they're canceled. There'll be great Christmas markets in Austria, in Vienna, and in Switzerland. So we'll stay on top of that because, as you know, It changes every day. But my understanding is they haven't canceled them yet. All right, so stay with me on that. Okay. Patricia says, what can you compare in history on what is happening in the travel industry now? Well, you can't, because we've never had this kind of a perfect storm where we had a pandemic and then we had a complete labor shift, sort of like the Great Resignation. You know, about 10% of the workforce in the travel and hospitality industry is not coming back. They use that time to think about their lives, about their lot in life, about their quality of life, about their income, about whether it was a vocation or a passion. And 10% of them said, you know what? I don't like this. And they not only decided not to come back, many of them moved. They changed location and they're not coming back. So I don't know how to compare it, because the bottom line is there's very little to compare it with. Uh, okay, let's see. Ah, Jonathan Atkins says tourists are not allowed in at the St. Vincent hot zone. Same thing, Jonathan, in La Palma. They cut you off. The lava is moving at sometimes 20 feet a minute. In some cases, 20 meters a minute. And that's very fast. Okay. All right. Hello from Japan from Jew. Okay. Craig wants to know how to travel with a puppy. Well, my answer is don't do it to the puppy. All right. You can travel with a puppy, of course. And what you need to know is if it's a small enough dog and it's a puppy, you can reserve a place for it in the airline cabin. Most airlines allow for one dog or animal per cabin. So if it's a 3-class plane, there are 3 of them allowed on board. You have to pay for it. It can't come out of the kennel. It has to fit in the seat under you, or it has to go in cargo. If you're going to take a plane where that doesn't have the room, where it doesn't have the space, and you have to get the kennel, and it's got to go in cargo, follow my advice. Do not medicate your dog. It will not understand it. It can't adjust properly, number one. Number two, have all your vaccination certificates and veterinary notes available. They're going to ask for them. And as we're getting into the winter months, be aware that airlines now have a moratorium, a temperature moratorium, both in the summer and the winter, when they will not take animals on planes. Remember, with so many connecting flights out there, dogs either die from heat or they freeze. So be careful, try to do nonstop flights. And then the other tip I'm going to give you, and I learned this a long time ago, is you'll notice in the kennel, there's a little bowl in there for water. Sounds like a great idea, but kennels get bounced around. Baggage handlers, everybody else, the water never stays in there. So right before you put your dog in the kennel, bring a bag of ice with you and put that ice in the bowl. So as the ice melts, the dog can still hydrate. Don't use water. It will never stay in that bowl. Okay? Here's one from Meredith saying hello from Florida. Scott saying, cruising seems to be coming back strong. Are you encouraged by this? Well, if I was in the cruise industry, I'd be encouraged by it. But as a journalist who covers this industry, I'm just happy that everybody's doing this the right way. They're basically complying with about 75 different protocols from the CDC in terms of innovation design, ventilation, seating capacity, social distancing, and of course testing, and creating areas on the ship where if someone does test positive, they can isolate them, do contact tracing, and so far I have to tell you, it's working. All right. Stephen says, I just got back from Paris after spending 2 weeks there. COVID cases up 115%. Thoughts about further travel to Europe right now? Well, Stephen, if you just got back from Paris, that means you're vaccinated. I bet you didn't go up 115%. I don't think you're frothing at the mouth or glowing in the dark. I bet you had a good time. So remember, the metrics here are different these days. It's not about the vaccination level or the number of cases where you're going. It's about the vaccination level and the intelligence of the people who are going. So if you've been vaccinated, you play by the rules, you wear your mask, you do your social distancing. Hey, I'm outside right now in Gran Canaria, overlooking the Atlantic behind me. But if I'm going to go into a restaurant, I got to wear a mask. If I'm going to a store, got to wear a mask, right? Getting on an airplane, you got to wear the mask. And those mask mandates are supposedly going to be decided if they're going to continue or not on January 18th. Mark my words, they will continue because not everybody's been vaccinated. Okay, here's one. Craig Sullivan says, I just participated on a panel for the International Hospitality Board about I'm going back. I just lost you there, Craig. Hold on a second. On the labor shortage, and it's going to be with us for quite a while. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. I say at least 2 to 3 years. At least 2 to 3 years. LD says, nice Michigan day. All right. And all right. Trayvon Riddick wants to know, am I and Rick Steve good friends? Well, we're friends. I see Rick all the time. We both speak at the travel and adventure shows all around America. We'll be doing that again starting in January in New York at the Javits Center. So I hope I'll see you there. And, Rick and I share a lot of things in common in terms of our approach to travel and our approach to COVID-19 and what we need to know. So listen to what he has to say. I agree with what he has to say. Okay. What happens if you get, Drew wants to know, what happens if you get COVID during travels? Do most hotels in Europe have quarantine for people that tested positive? Well, most countries do. Now, some hotels will provide that service for you. Before you go there, ask your hotel, what is your policy about testing? Will you provide it as a service? So some hotels say, oh yeah, we'll get you tested, and it's $250 a person. Figure out if it's part of what they're offering you as an incentive for you to go in the first place. And then the second question you want to ask them is, should I test positive? What's your policy? And some of the better resorts will say, we'll put you up here at our own expense until we can get you home. And what a great way to be quarantined at a great resort. Now, how many people have actually had that happen to them? This many. But it's a nice security blanket to know it's there for you if you need it. But you got to ask before you go. Okay. All right. Here's one. And boy, this is a question I get all the time these days. This is from Tanya saying, any advice on how to get a flight credit with American Airlines extended? It's on a case-by-case basis. What the airlines have been doing for the last year and a half is whenever they're ready to do it or whenever they feel forced to do it, they'll extend those vouchers or flight credits. And in many cases, they'll even extend your frequent flyer status. They don't want to lose you. It doesn't cost them anything to do that, by the way. So again, case-by-case basis, call them on the phone if you can get them on the phone. You saw the piece this week in the New York Times where one of their people had to be waiting 275 minutes on the phone just to get a human being. This is customer service. And the biggest joke of all is when it took me about 3 hours. That's 180 minutes, right, on Delta Airlines. And here's the crazy thing about that. When they finally connected me to somebody, they said, oh, by the way, please stay on the line after the call to take a 2-minute survey on our service. Are you kidding me? Here's your 2-minute survey. You don't have any. Fix it. Are you really wanting to take a survey? There's not a person watching me now that was going to take that survey. I hope you didn't. Right? You want to waste another 2 minutes after waiting 180 minutes just to ask a simple question? Okay. Now, back to your questions here. Speaking of that, Drew saying, have you heard of any major lockdowns in Europe? Well, lockdowns for the people who live there, yes. Lockdowns for you, no. Austria is starting to do that now. The Netherlands is doing that now, and a few other countries. But remember, even when I went to Turkey when they had a lockdown, guess what I discovered? It didn't necessarily apply to foreign passports, people carrying American passports who wanted to go to public museums. And what it did apply to was going out to dinner, right? The restaurants were closed. The bars were closed. They did takeout, and that's about it. But you could eat at the hotels. But in terms of going out during the day and walking around, if you had an American passport, you were not subject to the lockdown. Okay. And Craig says, not taking a survey. Good for you, Craig. Okay. Here's one from Tim. Curious to hear your thoughts on if you think more people would fly or drive this year for Thanksgiving with the gas prices now. Well, we already know the answer. More people are going to drive. Even though there's pain at the pump. We are creatures of habit. And we've been waiting around so long to go anywhere that if you amortize what we haven't spent to what we're going to spend over the next 10 days, still a bargain, relatively speaking. Can't extend that forever, but we're hitting the road. What I still don't understand is, why is everybody still leaving at the same time? Okay, we know when Thanksgiving is, right? It's a week from yesterday. Okay, we got that. But we're living remotely. We're working remotely. We're learning remotely. We could call it in as of last week and have left already to go visit our relatives. Why are we all waiting till the last minute? Haven't we learned our lesson? Do we want to really be in the remake of planes, trains, and automobiles? I hope not. But the answer to your question is, of the 53 million Americans traveling over the next 10 days, overwhelming majority by car. Only about 2.5 to 3 million of us by plane. Okay. Can you tell me why Iceland is back to a level 4 warning? I thought the country had COVID under control. Don't get me started, although you just did, on these level 4 warnings. I don't get them. Antarctica had a level 4 warning. Are there deranged penguins we don't know about? Look, again, this has nothing to do with your level of vaccination or intelligence. It has to do with the vaccination level in those countries. And they don't deserve a level 4 warning other than to let you know that if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't go there. But guess what? If you're not vaccinated, they won't let you in anyway. So we're kidding ourselves, right? The level 4 warnings of the State Department, I've had issues with them way before the pandemic. Chances are I'm going to have issues with them way after the pandemic. And this, we could devote an entire show to this. By the way, speaking of countries that are opening, earlier this week, guess who opened up finally? Cambodia. That's right. If you're a fully vaccinated American, you can now go to Cambodia. And what's great about that is nobody's going. So you can be first on your block at a time of the year when they have their best weather. Remember, when Cambodia first shut down, they were one of the more draconian countries in terms of what you could and couldn't do. In fact, if they were going to let you in, you even had to put up, I think, a $1,500 deposit ahead of time to pay for your cremation if you happen to die from COVID. Now, if that isn't a welcoming act for travel and tourism, I don't know what is. But the good news is they've come to their senses. 88% of the country's population has been vaccinated. Really great numbers there. And they are now open for us to go. And remember, between now and March and April, best time of the year to go to Asia. We're going to watch Thailand to see how they do it. They're starting to open as well. But Cambodia is actually open. All right, let's see who else is online here. Now everybody's coming in. Okay, Doha is watching. And Japan watching. We've got, somebody here on the Canary Islands is watching. Florida. Okay, let's keep going here. Michigan, another Michigan person. We're going down. Yes, I know. Austria just announced they're going on lockdown, but not for American travelers. Okay, keep going here. I answered that one. Okay. Someone from Kenya saying hi. Hello. No, excuse me. Uganda. All right. David Alper, buddy from New York, says, took your advice and followed up with American Airlines, asked for a customer care supervisor. They said not possible. I sent a follow-up email. They replied, it is clear you feel strongly, since we cannot guarantee on-time arrivals or departures, it is recommendable that our customers protect themselves by purchasing travel insurance. Did they really say that to you? David, will you do me a favor? Email me to peter@petergreenberg.com and show me that. I can't wait to see that. This is crazy customer service if the airline is recommending that you take an insurance policy because they can actually tell you that they're not going to deliver on what they promised. Wow. They gave you an additional 5,000 miles, which are somewhat worthless, and I should request a voucher, which I did, and they did not comply. Okay. Send me that email, would you, David? I really would appreciate that. Okay. Bill Wellman, say Peter is a guy in the hotel business. Maybe you remember me from Madison. I'm wondering what your thoughts, but you didn't finish them, Bill. It cut off, so send them again. Hey, Deborah is in Jersey. All right. Guerrilla trekking and wildlife safari tours are slowly gaining momentum back in Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, as we already know, and Kenya. This is good to know. Susan saying hi from the Green Mountain State, Vermont. Hello, Susan. And Geraldine Odeste, hello from chilly Chicago. All right. Okay. Now Bill's got a number here. He says, what my thoughts are on the future of the industry moving more towards Airbnb type things, way fewer meetings, or is that all just temporary? I have to give you a relative answer, Bill. Meetings are going to come back. I'm sorry. And I'll tell you why. I'm not sorry that they're going to come back. I'm just telling you, don't worry. They're good. They are going to come back. And here's why. If I am in, let's say, the IBM Corporation, and I'm in the marketing division, I want to talk to the parts guys. You know what? okay, we can make that a Zoom call. But if I'm in the marketing department of IBM and I want to sell you a mainframe system, I better come see you. Or if I'm going to maintaining or try to sell a mainframe system to a huge number of companies, I better go to a conference. So it will come back. I guarantee it will come back. Will it come back as strong as it has in the past? Not right away, but it will come back. Remember, meetings and conventions book between 2 and 3 years out. So that's why next year may also be a little slow, but 2023 for meetings and conventions will be back. Ramey Warren, hi from foggy Los Angeles. And Debbie says, hello from Palm Beach. Love the Canary Islands. Okay, not many Americans have been here. That's the point. And that's why I'm here. That's why we're doing that show called Hidden Canary Islands. In fact, all the Canary Islands are essentially hidden. It is. There are 8 of them. Can you name them? All right, Lanzarote, La Gomera, El Hierro, Gran Canaria, where I am right now, Tenerife, let's see, Fuerteventura, and what am I missing? Oh, yeah, Little Graciosa. Did I get all 8? Did I miss any? I could have. I said Tenerife, too, so I think we got them. Okay, scrolling down again. Raymond Bixon's on the line trying to make me feel jealous because he's saying aloha from Lisbon, where he's attending the leading hotels of the world convention. Raymond, hello right back to you. Please say hello to all my buddies there. Jacopo wants to know, how's my trip been to the Canary Islands? He's actually saying hello from Las Palmas. And he wants to know how it's archipelago. Some who's seen or heard about it. It's phenomenal. It really is. First of all, name a location that's got built-in, baked-in social distancing, the Atlantic Ocean, the mountains, the desert, if you will, a lot of desert topography, the best night sky I've seen in a long time, the beaches, there's Surfers Hill all out here right to my right. And you know what? You can bike, you can hike. On the island of La Gomera, people love to hike. It's built-in hiking. Enchanted forests there as well. So and the food, can't knock the food here, especially if you like seafood. Okay, hello to Roseanne from Florida. Tanya says just returned from the Maldives and it was incredible. Here's something I already know about, but I'll mention it, Tanya. The Q Suites on Qatar Air, amazing. Doha Airport, wonderful. We know this. We did a 1-hour special on the Doha Airport. Hamad International, one of the great airports of the world. They really thought of everything. I mean, everything. And if you're lucky enough to fly business class on Qatar in their Q Suite, on their A350s, wow, right? I mean, I used to feel that way by Emirates when they first came out with their suites. But I tell you something, Qatar has really changed the game with those Q Suites. And if you're lucky enough to do it, right, I'm telling you, it's one of those things where you go, is the flight really over? Yeah, well, okay. It sounds like a bad commercial, but I'm telling you, for somebody who travels 425,000 miles a year, if somebody tells me I've lucked out and I have the Q Suite, I have a big smile on my face. Okay. Arena, my old pal, says hi. I think she's still in New Jersey. BJ saying hi from Santa Fe. Patricia says, so happy to hear meetings will be coming back. I was a national director for, yes, they will. Slowly next year, then back in 23. Debbie says, we did the Canary Islands on NCL. Doing the Canary Islands on a cruise ship is not doing the Canary Islands. It's an appetizer. You're in at 8 o'clock in the morning, you sail at 5 in the afternoon, and I'm sure you loved what you saw, but it didn't give you a chance to immerse. Now that you've had the appetizer, come on back. And guess what? Next year, somebody got smart, nonstop service from the U.S. to the Canary Islands. All right. Hello, Harriet and Jim from Richmond, Virginia. Denmark here. Hello. How was your trip to La Palma? Intense. That, I'm telling you, that volcano is intense. And, the volcanologist who talked to me tried to explain to me that these are still very young islands. And the opportunity for more eruptions is really real. It's not one of those dormant situations. They're expecting more. Patricia says, hi, Raymond. Worked with him at Regent. Okay, Patricia. I hope Raymond's still watching. You guys can reconnect. Edith says, greetings from Orlando and the GBTA. We know the GBTA, the Global Business Travel Association. And hello to my friend Phil Alonji, who I think is producing that this year. The island of Madeira was beautiful too. Yes, but that's not here. That's in Portugal. And by the way, those of you who are thinking about going to Madeira, hold on tight because the landings at that airport are outrageous. The wind. I mean, the pilots who land there are like the pilots in Papua New Guinea. They know what they're doing. Okay. Karen Ballard, one of the all-time great photographers of the world, who was with us in Tanzania and also in Rwanda, wants to know, did you see the eclipse in the Canary Islands? What about the volcano? Well, the eclipse we didn't see, but boy, did we see a full moon. You could, I mean, oh my God, it was so clear. You could look at the craters, I mean, with the naked eye. What about, the marine layer here in Venice Beach? Well, we know that. Okay, but we'll see you soon. LD says, what time of year would you consider best to travel to Iceland? Well, look, you're not going there for a suntan. You're going there to experience it, right? So the best time of year to go is now. You know why? Nobody else is going. I'm a contrarian traveler. Now, you'll lose the light earlier in the day, but you know what? Still worth it. Iceland got really crowded. So you know what you do? You go between November and April. You'll deal with the light issues, but you'll have a great time. Okay. Roseanne is saying, just learned that Italy is requiring cruise ships to provide excursions that you cannot wander on your own. Have you heard this? This has been in place for quite some time. It's a bubble. They're fully escorted shore excursions to pre-vetted destinations. You're going to wear your mask. You can't explore the port on your own. And that's what's going to be for a while until the numbers there go down. Okay. Hi, Peter. When I lived in South Africa, I did a wonderful trip to the Canary Islands. Love them. It's time to go back. I agree. Patty says, on my way to Doha on Qatar. In the Q suite, Patty? Let us know. Iris says, thanks for sharing your knowledge. I've stocked up on Stroop waffles from Amazon. Not Stroop waffles, Biscoff. How many times do I have to tell you? Biscoff. And by the way, you guys have been sending me some very funny emails about the Biscoff cookie shortage or the denial of Biscoffs. Denial. So we continue the good fight. Although I've heard rumor that if you go to Costco, they sell them in bulk. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. By the way, a little housekeeping note. If you want to email me and I can't answer it today, that's easy, peter@petergreenberg.com. Our website, petergreenberg.com. Our radio show tomorrow, of course, from 10:05 in the morning till 1 p.m. Eastern time. Check out Hidden Turkey. You can still see it on Amazon Prime and on your local PBS station. And what am I doing here in the Canary Islands, and in particular right now on Gran Canaria? We're doing our next 1 hour global special for PBS called Hidden Canary Islands. So check that out early next year. In the meantime, I've got a flight to catch to Lanzarote. Oh, wait a second. I almost forgot. Thank you, Anthony. The photo of the week. Let's go to it. Now, something about this photo, and I got to give you some history here before I give a shout out to Deborah Ritchie who took it. I have never seen a bad photo of Lake Como, and this proves it. Deborah took this shot on her iPhone 8. Get with it now. We got iPhone 13 now. From Lecco, a city on the southeastern shore of Lake Como. You know what? Nicely done. Really nicely done, Deborah, and we congratulate you on that. And by the way, lighting is everything. Timing is everything. Perfect. We love it. If you got a photo you think qualifies, just send it in to us, peter@petergreenberg.com. And next week, we're coming to you from a rather unusual location. And we're probably going to do it on Wednesday because we don't want to interrupt your dysfunctional family get-together on Thursday. So our Facebook Live will be next Wednesday from a remote location that you'd never, ever, ever expect me to be on Thanksgiving. But of course, that also means it's not going to be in the U.S. So check it out. In the meantime, please travel safely. Please be kind to your fellow travelers. Be nice. Don't act out. And that's just before you get to the Thanksgiving table. And then I'll see you next Wednesday, not next Thursday, next Wednesday for Facebook Live at the same time, 12 noon Eastern. Thanks, everybody, and have a happy Thanksgiving.